Where Corn Street meets Broad Street meets High Street meets Wine Street. And had you been standing here up until late November 1940, the view behind me would have been remarkably different. For a start, you would have seen this. This was our Dutch house. A lovely timber building. You can locate our Dutch house somewhat accurately by looking at the curvature of this building just behind me to my right, still standing. We lost our Dutch house on a fateful night from Bristol's past. That night being the 24th of November, 1940. It was a Sunday, about 6 p.m. to be precise. The first major raid to strike the centre of the city of Bristol. One of 7 raids we suffered through the Blitz, and 77 raids that we suffered through World War II. Now, our Dutch house would have been somewhat closer than these buildings just here, around where the white lines are in the road. Behind where our Dutch house once stood, we now find Castle Park. Few people are quite aware just how packed full of buildings Castle Park once was. Coming up High Street towards me, you would have found many bars, restaurants. Wine Street behind me was full of department stores. We had Dolphin Street heading in from the north, Bridge Street running along the waterfront, and Castle Street cutting through the centre. And all in all, within the space that is now Castle Park, you would have found 5 theatres, a hospital, a high school, a cinema, all now gone. All we have remaining, Mary Laporte's Church, whose tower we can just Mary Laporte Church, whose tower we can just see through the trees back there. St. Peter's Church, which stands in the centre of the park, missing its roof, and a few scraps of the old Norman castle, for which Castle Park gets its name. Again, the view behind me up until the 24th of November 1940. An obligatory call of turn out those lights before I speed on ahead and turn on some lights. If you'd like to follow me. They look different. From our high streets, the dog in the logo is a Bristolian dog. This is Nipper. Nipper belonged to a set builder at the Prince's Theatre on Park Row. The theatre was unfortunately hit during World War II, but a statue of Nipper survives. You can find it opposite the Esso garage. If you want to do some homework after the tour, you can go and find the statue of Nipper. Now, the set builder's brother was an artist. He painted this lovely depiction of Nipper listening to a gramophone, flogged it to HMV. It has been their logo ever since. Now, interestingly, the name Nipper is also kind of a Bristol link. Nippers were what we called the young lads, which would run up and down the decks of ships carrying line and sail back during Bristol's heyday as a port. Now, period gramophone, temperamental at the best of times, so fingers crossed for me. Back in the day, the needles would have lasted for just one play. They often would have used rose thorn or bamboo in place of the needles. Perfect. Now, I'm going to squeeze through you folks. I'll be taking this step just here. And if I could ask everybody, shorter people at the front, taller people at the back, to gather right up close to this step. I want everybody as close as possible so everybody gets the side of this. I've bigged it up a lot, I hope you're actually impressed. What we have here are pencil drawings thought to date back to World War II. Now, a few ways that we can accurately date these drawings. Just over here, very simple. The style of this dance move, the cut of the dress, both very, very reminiscent of the wartime era. Better though, over here, we have a name. Myrna Loy. Myrna Loy was a famous Hollywood film star who, during World War II, was in many, many movies. One of her more famous films, The Jazz Singer, she played a ballerina. And what do we have next to the name Myrna Loy but this, I have to say, beautiful drawing of a ballerina? I think it's very likely that as bombs fell on the streets above and dust sprinkled down from the ceiling, an artist may have leant against this wall with a Hollywood movie magazine open to an article about Myrna Loy in The Jazz Singer, whiling away those long hours, drawing her likeness onto the wall. And I say long hours, they truly were long hours. The first raid to strike the centre of Bristol, that one on the 24th of November I mentioned previously, 6.5 hours long. The longest we suffered, 12 hours. Half a day of bombing. Perhaps half a day spent dreaming of Myrna Loy. Now, another drawing on this wall, a little lower down, perhaps done by a child given the height. It's a fellow looking in this direction. And if you look closely, he's wearing something familiar on his head. Looks to me like a Brody helmet. A bit further down here, we have a collar. This could very easily be part of a uniform. I think we are quite likely looking at our shelter's air raid warden. And if we look really closely, he looks quite upset. Perhaps if this was a child drawing this, he's just caught the child spitting on the floor. He's given the kid a telling off, and the kid's gone, well then, I'll draw you with a big nose and a grumpy mouth. How do you like that? But yes, this wall, a fantastic link back to wartime Bristol. Also perhaps a fantastic link to our contemporary status as the capital for street art. Maybe this was Banksy's grandmother. Putting a bit of graph on the wall, starting the family tradition, who knows, who knows. Up until recently, that's all we've really been saying about this space. But towards the end of last year, we had a group of veterans come in on a private tour. Private tours are available, incidentally. At the end of the tour, one of the veterans took the guide aside and he said, "You will never guess what I have back home. I have a photograph of my aunt in Bristol during World War II with Myrna Loy." This fellow's aunt was a member of the Tiller Girls, a famous dance troupe. And the photo depicts, apparently, Myrna and the Tiller Girls about to board a ship sailing off from Bristol to Ireland. So Myrna was in Bristol. We'd like more information. The veteran has offered to donate the photograph to the museum. That was back in November. We've sent 3 emails. That feels like the limit. He actually did reply to the last one saying, "No, I've just been very busy. I'd still like to donate the photo." So fingers crossed, watch this space. Maybe come back next year and we'll have a big display about Myrna in Bristol just here. For now, we have this. Though actually, look at this photo just here. And then look at Myrna, just here. Spitting image, I have to say. Now, also in here, we have a nice big blast door. This one's lost most of its paint, And we have the remnants of a poster telling us the area past this door would have been strictly prohibited. If I shine my light down into the prohibited area, we do find more armour brickwork. We also find the old Christmas lights. This entire space, every room that we've been through so far, used to be full of tat. It was a dumping ground. Anytime the council wanted rid of something, they didn't know where to put it, they chucked it down here. Which means a couple of things. One, much of what we have down here we have brought in from elsewhere to lovingly reinstate the space with artifacts as it may once have looked. I will point out the originals when we go past them. Two, it means we almost lost this. You can see where the Christmas lights were butting up against this wall just here. It's only because of this arch that all of these lovely images further down were protected, so we nearly lost them. Now, we're going to move out of this space. Back in the City Valuers bar. The City Valuers edits. Now, to date this pretty accurately. Boots. This here is Boots, owned brand. He was awarded the Blue Cross, which is the animal equivalent George Cross, highest honour and family of their name. And we now receive the next up, the church. Did a bit of triangulation, I suppose. My suspicion now is that this photo was taken and a sign this read. That being that on that evening, a river of rats was seen. Others theorize that they felt by